Hey everybody, Adam here with Hometown Acres. Before we get into today's video, we got to add some fuel to the excavator. And I did want to point out, I have had this Vevor diesel fuel tank. This is a 100-gallon fuel tank for probably 2 or 3 years now. If you are still messing around with 5-gallon gas cans, you've got to get yourself some kind of fuel transfer tank. I don't care if you get this one from Vevor or a different brand or one that goes in the back of your pickup truck or something. Just get something that's got 50 or 100 gallons of fuel. It makes my life so much easier. I probably fill this thing up 4 times a year, whereas if I was getting 5-gallon gas cans, I'd be headed to the gas station 3 times a week. If you do want to get the same one that I have here, this 100-gallon one from Vevor, that way you know it's tried and tested, I will leave a link to Amazon in the description where you can get one. They're not cheap. They're about 500 bucks or something like that, but well worth it in my opinion for the amount of time you save. Another thing you might want to grab is it comes with 12-volt DC battery jumper cables here to run the pump. It's a pain in the butt to have to hook these up to whatever piece of machinery that you're filling up. I got myself a dedicated battery that I keep down here. I got a little ammo can from Harbor Freight, and I keep a dedicated battery down here just for this. And I also have a little solar panel to keep it topped off when I'm not using it. So pretty nice little setup I've got here for keeping everything fueled up. I'm probably almost at the point where I could use a 250-gallon or a 300-gallon, because like I said, I'm filling this up 4 times a year. It's a good combination right now because fuel doesn't get old on me. If I was only filling it up once a year, you might have to start worrying about fuel getting old. But it works out well right now. If I get another piece of equipment, that might be something I have to look into, is getting something a little bit bigger. But now that that's hooked up to the battery, power, and fuel. Now that we got the excavator fueled up, it's time to start getting some rock down here around the woodyard and building a road. As you saw, we got 3 loads of some pretty nice number 3 rock delivered this morning.
I'm the king of the rock!
One thing I've got to do first is we've got this swale on the back side of the building to force water to go that way and to force water to go that way. You saw in the last video we got our downspout drain line in for this part of the building. We got some rain coming tomorrow, so we'll get to test that out. One thing I need to do before I can start putting rock down is, right now this is lower than inside the building to force water around the building. But if I build a road up here, then this is probably going to end up being higher than inside the building. So I've got to come in here and scrape this down a little bit to give me some room to put the material down and still have the road, when it's done, be lower than inside the building. Because the last thing we want to do, build this up and then force water into the building. General rule of thumb is every time you fill up your tank with fuel, it's a good time to grease the machine, because there's usually about 8 or 10 hours worth of runtime in a tank of fuel with the machine. So that's kind of a good timer on how often you should be greasing your machine. You may end up over greasing it doing it that way, but it's certainly better than under greasing it. So I've got the tilt bucket on the excavator from Mongo Attachments, which is the perfect tool for this job, because even though I do want to dig this swale down, I want to taper it from inside the building to the low point where the swale is going to be. So I don't know if you can tell right now, but I have that bucket tilted just a little bit to the right, so it's barely cutting on the left side, and it's cutting down probably 2 or 3 inches on the right side of the bucket. If you were trying to do this with just a regular fixed bucket, it'd be pretty challenging. I think we got things shaped up just about how we want them with the excavator. I got the transit out just to make sure, because this needs to be right. I don't want to create a giant puddle here before I put all the rock in. So I wanted to make sure I have fall from up there to down where the excavator is. You can see right now my only goal is to get this section right here filled with stone. I will deal with that pile of material later. But if you look up here, I really didn't dig down much because I want this to be higher than down there. And then as you work your way down, it gets a little deeper and deeper and deeper, because again, I want to make sure that water will shed down this way. And that's what we're double checking with the transit right now, is I set my 0 right up about here. Yep, right there's 0. And then what I'm going to do is take my tape measure, come down here, and where that 0 is, I can measure from the bottom of the stick. So we're about 6 inches lower right here than we are up there. And as I continue to work my way down, that number should increase. So right there, we're about 8 inches. So between where I measured 6 and 8, we've got 2 inches of fall from there to there. And then even right down here by the excavator, we're at about 10 inches there. So 0, 6 inches, 8 inches, 10 inches. We have fall here. All I need to do now is come in here and clean all this up. I'll tell you what though, the ground here, I mean, look at this. This is like concrete. This was challenging to dig with the excavator and push with the blade on the excavator. Very hard packed stuff. I'm almost considering not putting fabric down because this is such hard packed clay, but I think better safe than sorry. I've already got the fabric, may as well put it down. Well, I think it is safe to say that we are going to be out of the mud for the foreseeable future. We still have, I'd say probably at least one full triaxle load of this number 3 rock left. Again, this is just a base material. What I want to do is probably this fall, I'll come back in and top dress it with some 2A limestone, which is, you know, 1.5 inches down to dust. It's got the fines mixed in. It's going to lock together real nice and basically turn into concrete on top of this base material. But we've got the fabric down, we've got base rock, we've got drainage, and the reason I'm not going to bring in the limestone right now is, one, it's expensive and we just spent a good bit of money on those 3 loads of stone. But 2, I want to get this kind of beat down in. You guys saw me take the excavator and roll back and forth across it to get it to kind of mush down in a little bit for right now, but this will settle quite a bit, and we'll get it knocked down in, and then this fall we'll go ahead and get a top layer or top coat on top of here, because this is kind of hard to walk on. These are big rocks. And that's another thing, running over with the excavator helped kind of knock it down a little bit, so it's just a little flatter, a little easier to walk on. But it's a good thing we still have about 1.5 piles left of that base material, because my plan is, now that we've got this whole section done here, I want to actually start wrapping it around the building. I won't have enough to get all the way around the building, but I've got enough to get a good start on there. Next on the agenda is figure out what we're going to do with all of this fill that we took out of here. We got a decent pile here. Got to do something with it. I could just, you know, waste it out here if I wanted to, or I could load it up in the dump trailer and take it and dump it somewhere, but got to figure that out. But yeah, guys, as long as we stay on this rock from here on out, I shouldn't have to be cleaning the tracks out of the mini excavator or the mini skid steer anymore, or getting the tractor filthy. Speaking of the tractor, I just looked at the dash when I shut it off here. We just crossed over 217 hours. It's crazy. I think I used to average on my old Coyote maybe about 100 hours a year, something like that. And I want to say we've had the LS now for 18 months, and we just crossed 217 hours. So that puts us around 150 hours a year on average with the LS tractor. We've been using all of the equipment more just because we've been doing a lot more things lately. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you did, give me a big thumbs up, click that subscribe button, and we'll catch you on the next one. Thanks for watching.